This is a Sony RX100 Mark IV. I just got this in the mail yesterday. If I got this yesterday, that means I bought it recently. So why did I get the Mark IV instead of the newer and better Mark V that was released just a few weeks ago? The Sony RX100 line really needs no introduction. It's no secret that this camera has been the king of all pocketables since the launch of the original Mark I in 2012. Sony really shook up the industry with a camera that not only had DSLR-like features, but had a fast lens and a plethora of second-to-none features like the ability to record 1080p at 60 frames per second at a time when that was unheard of in point-and-shoot cameras. The line of cameras has improved over the years, with each new model bringing notable advancements. However, I feel that the true pinnacle was reached with the Mark IV. The features list is incredible, ranging from 4K video recording to being able to record in Sony's S-Log2 color profile. The Mark V, in my opinion, didn't bring enough to the table to warrant its price tag over the older Mark IV. Right now, a brand new Mark V will set you back about $1350 Australian dollars, which is about $1,000 US, with the Mark IV costing $990 Australian dollars, which is $740 US. So for a price difference of about $250 US, you are getting a new phase detection autofocus system with 315 points that cover 65% of the frame. It can now shoot 24 frames per second with autofocus and auto exposure adjustments with an improved buffer that can hold about 71 RAW photos. The camera can now shoot 4 seconds in high frame rate mode as opposed to just 2. This is all thanks to a new front-end LSI chip on the Bion's X image processor. Everything else is the same as before. We have the same stacked 1-inch sensor coupled with the Zeiss f1.8 to 2.8 with equivalent focal lengths of 24 to 70 millimeters. It's clear to see that the camera has perhaps reached its pinnacle. The Mark V is definitely better, but the improvements cannot justify an additional $250 in price. Perhaps what would have been fair would be the Mark V being released at the exact price point of the older device, then having the Mark IV gradually decrease in price as time goes by. The RX100 Mark IV is a great camera. It still blows some of the competition out of the water in terms of features and performance. Keep in mind that we're talking about cameras that were developed much later. As of right now, the price of the Mark IV can only fall. My approach to this purchase was very simple. Should I buy a camera for $1350 Australian dollars, which only has subtle improvements over its predecessor, not to mention downsides like worse battery life than the previous generation? Or should I keep that 360 or so Australian dollars and use that to buy useful camera accessories like a high-performance memory card? In all honesty, even at 990 Australian dollars, Sony's really pushing it. There is not much you can use to justify a price tag like that for just a 1-inch sensor point and shoot, especially at a time when all the competitors' models are significantly cheaper. For example, Canon's latest G7X Mark II goes for 815 Australian dollars, which is still much less than Sony's previous generation Mark IV. For me, the new autofocus feature or the 24 frames per second wasn't that important because I'm going to use this camera more for videos than photos, simply because it's much better at that. If I was solely interested in still image photography, I'd simply get myself something a bit more professional like an Alpha 6300. Which would give me a much larger sensor and better image quality for the same price. The improved buffer is great, but let's face it, being able to store 71 images is more of a gimmick than an actual commonly applied feature. It's obviously great to always have that option, but the Mark IV is definitely no slouch at 28 raw images. In terms of the high frame rate mode, being able to record twice the time as before is impressive, but is it worth it? And you have to ask yourself, how many times would you make use of such a feature? It's not something that can warrant the money. As I mentioned before, it's incredible that the older Mark IV still has some better features and performance figures than some of the newer point and shoots from competitors like Canon and Nikon. So if you're looking to get an RX100 Mark V, make sure you'll be making full use of the new features. Otherwise, it would be more sensible to get the Mark IV and save up on a few dollars. Thanks for watching. Leave a like or a comment if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. See you guys in the next one.